What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, and today I will be reviewing, and then ranking the guitar solos on Frank Zappa's Ship Arriving Too Late to Save a Drowning Witch album. I'm going to review these, and then I will show you where they fall, where this album falls among what the other 35 albums that I've done so far, right? Is that what I've done so far? 35. And that's it. Other 35 that I've done so far. I've already updated the list. That's why it says 36. But anyways, only 3 solos on here. And I feel like, so it's going to be short. Probably not. But I feel like we watch a lot of cooking shows here in this house and like competitions. And there's always that like competition where it's like, today's ingredient is mushrooms. And we want you to cook mushrooms in 3 different ways. It's the 3 different ways cooking mushrooms challenge, or chicken or lamb or whatever, right? But they have to do it 3 different ways. I feel like these 3 solos are like, I need a representation of Frank Zappa's 1981 guitar playing, but 3 different ways. And I think that's kind of what this is. It's Zappa's guitar playing 3 different ways. Each of the solos, I think, is spectacular. They're essentially 2 live 81 solos that Frank has taken the live 81 solo and put it on this album. And then there's 1 studio solo that was recorded at this time in the studio, the time this album came out, like 82. I don't know when it was recorded, but the album came out in 82. So it was probably recorded in late 81, early 82, sometime around there. This came out in May of 82. So anyways, great solos. And it's like one of them is like Frank at his most like metal, just like shredding. One of them is like sort of a spacey, all over the place, kind of chaotic, like maybe should have been like an easy meat type thing. And the other one is like a calmer, more reflective, more emotional, more like restrained is a weird word to use because it's still Zappa playing, but definitely a little more under control Zappa. And I think the 3 solos provide a really nice balance of flavors over the course of like the album. Only 6 songs, 2 of them have solos because 2 of the solos come from the same song. But because they're different enough solos, I'm going to count them differently. But anyways, that's enough. I'm going to talk about them. I'll put them on the screen when I'm done. Then at the end, I'll show you where this album falls among the other 36. So number 3 is the first Drowning Witch solo. This is the one that comes in a slightly more active, slightly more chaotic groove than the second one. The actual solo from here is from November 17th, 1981. And this is the sort of one that kind of sounds like it could be an easy meat. Definitely, it seems like it's got a little more effect action going on. It just sounds a lot crazier, almost sounds like an outer space type weird flanger heavy type weird sounding type solo. A lot of times with Frank's just shredding, as he does quite a lot in this. This is not the shredding solo. This is the crazy spacey solo. But there are times when he's just playing these notes and it just becomes this blur of like effect noise. A lot of like bending of notes, a lot of like short ideas that end up with him just kind of playing with the noise and doing that. And the rhythm section, of course, is responding. We got Wackerman and Tunis as the drummer and bass player, respectively. So the rhythmic support is fantastic. But I almost think like if he were to take the solo and xenochronize it and remove it and drop it in like an easy meat from any like sort of 80 on, you know, where you have this sort of chaos vamp going, I think it would work within the confines of any easy meat. It has that very sort of fragmented feel to it where it doesn't feel like there's a narrative thread as much as just a bunch of ideas Frank's throwing out over the course of 3 minutes. They're great ideas. It's a fantastic solo. I'm in no way complaining about it. But it does kind of sit in that easy meat category for me. That like not, you know, that just kind of chaotic vibe, but I enjoy it. Number 2 is from I Come From Nowhere. This is a studio solo, which apparently he recorded it over like a drum track, I think, essentially, rhythm track. And then after he recorded the solo, the drummer laid down the drums in response to the solo, if I'm not mistaken. And then Patrick O'Hearn, this is the only time he's on this album, comes in and then lays the bass parts separately after the drums have already been overlaid. So it's not synchrony and that the drummer and the bass player are actually listening to the solo, but the solo comes first and then they're kind of responding and they're given a lot of freedom. This is the shredder solo where right from the beginning it's like da-da-da-da, I mean almost immediately he's just like trilling, almost sounds like he's finger tapping a bunch of high notes. Pretty sure Frank didn't do that, though I do think he picked tapped. It's just your full-on pedal to the metal, shredding, 81, 82 metal noise, dig down deep, great heavy hard rock metal, just go at it solo. If I have a complaint, is it kind of fades out at the end, and it's neat on the CD because you fade out and then the first thing you hear is the of Drowning Witch, that opening drum beat, and we kick off into that. So it works on the CD. On the vinyl, it kind of sucks to have it fade out. You're like, oh man, I'm going to turn over this vinyl and get to Drowning Witch. So that's my only complaint is it fades out, but it's a really good solo. It's just Frank shredding for like 3+ minutes. The overlaid drums or bass are absolutely fantastic. Having O'Hearn kind of responding to Frank in like 81, 82 is nice, you know, instead of, you know, back in like 77, 78. So it's a really neat solo. Absolutely love the energy. Absolutely just full on attack mode. That's my number 2 off this album, which leaves my number 1, the only solo that's left, the second Drowning Witch solo. Part of this comes from the November 27th, 81 show. And then somewhere in the middle, we go to another show. Not quite sure what that one is. This is the more calm, reflective solo. This is that 4-note sort of vamp that's dun, 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 dun. And then there's kind of space for Frank to go off on, and the band comes around again. Dun, 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 dun. Very simple groove over which to solo. The beginning note, it's just this awesome little like scribble in the beginning that's like dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun, like just setting it up perfectly and taking his time in the beginning to kind of build the ideas and let the momentum slowly build and the intensity slowly build. This is one of his like reflective sort of emotional is a weird word to use with Frank. I don't quite think he's not emotional in the way of like a David Gilmour can just hold those notes and, you know, play 6 notes and like get you in the gut. But he's going for that, going for a little more introspective type soloing. Of course, there are moments when he just like absolutely shreds as only Frank shreds, and that just pure chaos style that he does. But it's a really good, calmer, more reflective, more introspective solo. Second solo in Drowning Witch. And this is for like almost all of 81 and 82. The first solo tends to be the spacier, more chaotic one. The second one kind of Frank slows down and maybe paints a bigger picture, more of a narrative thread that runs through the solo. But that's my number 1. But they're all fantastic. That's what they look like. In case you already forgot which order I put them, those are the 3 of them right there. Fantastic solos, each of them. 81, 82, Frank's, I would argue, his last peak. 84 and 88 had great moments. 84 more than 88. But I do think the horrible electronic sound in 84 kind of just ultimately kind of hurt a lot of the solo experiences, though it also provided some absolutely chaotic moments. 88, he was a little more inconsistent. But yeah, these are fantastic. Where does this album fall among the other 36? Right there at the top. It's a top 10 album. Yeah, there's only 3 solos, but they're all absolutely fantastic. It's 81 Frank, man. I mean, you can't go wrong with 81 Frank, 82 Frank, with Tunis and Wackerman as your rhythm section, or in the case of I Come From Nowhere, O'Hearn playing bass for once. Just fantastic. It's actually a pretty good album. I did just listen to it yesterday, I think, when I was driving home. And Not Now is not my favorite, but I have to admit it was kind of a fun song to hear. Valley Girl, whatever. But the fun songs, but those last 4 songs, I Come From Nowhere, Drowning Witch, try not to cuss. That awesome Maggio, no, what do we got on here? That awesome Envelopes, not Maggio. That awesome Envelopes, and then Teenage Prostitute, which is such a fun song. Wouldn't be made today, I don't think, but glad Frank made it back then. But yeah, that's it. Number 4, really good album as far as guitar solos go. So that's all I got. Let me know your favorite of the three, or rant and rave in the comments about the awesomeness of Frank's guitar playing in 81. Or if you know something about I Come From Nowhere that I don't, or if you know where the second half of that Drowning Witch #2 solo comes from, let me know. Comment, subscribe, like, share, and go listen to this album, people. What, it's like really short, like 35 minutes long. It's a short little effort. Is it even 35 minutes long? This album's like 15, something like 32 minutes long or 33 minutes long. Great, short, satisfying listen. But anyways, great solos. Check them out. Peace. Talk to you later.